Okay, so I want to give my thoughts about this. So we got two things to go over, okay? First and foremost, this segment from SportsCenter about Wembanyama 65 game limit, yada, yada, yada. And also, I wanted to take a look at what Chris Paul had to say regarding the Wembanyama situation. So that's just a 30-second clip. So let's start with this. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted. I have no idea. Maybe we'll have to stop it a few times.
65 game limit before you get an award. The fact that Victor Wembanyama is not going to be defensive player of the year this year when he was clearly the best defensive player, and he's punished for having blood clots for something that is, you know.
All right, so you get the sentiment. So basically what he's saying is you shouldn't be, because he has blood clots and everyone knows that he's defensive player of the year, he should still get defensive player of the year if he didn't reach those 65 games. So obviously we all understood why the NBA implemented this. I've been saying this so many times though, like I really think that the NBA needs to look at, and this is like everything, this is all aspects of life, I think. But if you want to change behavior in people and change behavior in teams, I think you have to incentivize them rather than just punishing all the time, right? Like incentivizing as in, I don't know, trying to make sure that the schedules are a little bit better, or maybe making it less games a season. It will be more exciting that way anyways. But the NBA is like, nah, we make too much money that way, so let's implement a tournament and let's make it where you have to play 65 games if you want your reward, and let's make sure we put a tournament in the All-Star game. And like they do all these weird things rather than doing the thing that I think would make it easier, make it better overall, right? And I think limiting the amount of games some of these teams play would be better, just a better product overall for us. That's my take. A lot of people don't agree with that. That's fine. But I think it would limit a lot of these back-to-backs. I think it would limit, at times, especially early in the season, it doesn't seem like teams are playing that hard, right? Sometimes. And it's because in the NBA, you see how close things are even right now. You can kind of pick it up after All-Star break. But those seasons that there was like a protest amongst players and they didn't play for a while, like those few seasons I remember, at least through my life watching basketball, were some of the best seasons. When they came back, it was some of the best seasons, some of the most fun seasons. Not the COVID season, that wasn't fun. But other than that, it was pretty fun, right? Pretty fun. But yeah, I think 82, nearly 100 games. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's too many games, right? So I think that would actually help. But instead, the NBA constantly puts these like weird rules and things in there so they don't lose any money while also trying to push players in a certain direction, which I think you can do that in a positive way and it'll just naturally happen, right? Too many times people try to put rules in place that don't actually help at the end of the day. You just got to kind of nudge people in a positive direction and it's just going to naturally occur, right? If you limit the amount of games that teams play, more players are going to play. More games are important. You get a little bit more rest in between games. I just think it's a better product overall. That's me. It's fine. You can disagree. Whatever. So I guess the question here is it unfair for Victor Wembanyama to not win Defensive Player of the Year? Unfortunately, I don't think that it's unfair, right? Obviously it's not his fault. It's out of his control. But just like any injury, a lot of times it's out of the player's control, and you could just very well not get that injury. Being Defensive Player of the Year does mean that you were Defensive Player of the entire year. He's obviously the Defensive Player of the Year, but I think they screwed him over his first year. Okay? That's why I hate when, you miss out on opportunities to actually give guys awards when they deserve it. And I'm like, okay, we got to wait till next year. BS. He should have already had one, and maybe we wouldn't be as upset about it. So I think it sucks, but that's the rule that they implemented now. I don't think that is necessarily unfair, right? Just because it was something out of his control. You know what I mean? How do you guys feel about it? Not unfair, got to reward availability no matter the circumstance. Yeah. I don't like the 65 game limit. I think we should just have an overall 65 game limit. Just limit the games we play to 65, and you'll get guys playing most of the season anyway. But it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Agree? Yeah. Wemby robbed twice. Wemby robbed once. Second time, I mean, not much you can do about it. So, yeah, I think this take is a little strange. Let me see what some of the people have to say, because this is on a Josh Paredes post, so it's going to be a lot of Spurs fans. Gotta play, or whatever wins it is rewarded for playing, or whoever wins it is rewarded for playing. Bad take. Okay, so most Spurs fans agree, it looks like. Gotta play the game, dude. Availability is a skill. The F is he talking about? Season isn't over yet. Out in mid-February, Eagles can't win. Maybe if he ends the season leading in blocks. No mercy for Claudia? I have no idea what this even means. I'll be honest with you. The end part makes me think that he's being a bad person, though. But I'm not. I have no idea. Play on 1 minute a game for the next 8 games or whatever it is. So that doesn't work. They made it where you can't do that. I think you have to average, 20 guys? 20 minutes a game or something? So the Spurs couldn't just put him in for a minute and then... And obviously don't do that. Don't risk his health over just a award. He has a long career ahead of him. 20 minutes? Yeah. That would be silly to do that. Guys don't deserve awards for playing half a season. It's unfortunate injuries happen, but the game limit is a good rule. Rewarding players that are playing majority of the season will only benefit the league. I say maybe lower it to 60 games at the lowest. Yeah, I think that's fine. But you guys know what I said. I just think limiting the games overall from 82 down to the 60s would make it easier too. And then you could still implement that rule and still make them play at least 50 or 45 to 50, and I think that's cool. They're gonna play that anyways, so you might not have to have that limit. But Clan, if both of our first round picks end up being outside the top 10, would you want to package them to move up in the draft? It's a pretty deep draft, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I really do believe that the Hawks are about to go on a mean losing streak. So before we look at the Chris Paul stuff, let's look at the Hawks. We already looked at the Spurs. I think we're going to win more games than we expect. But the Hawks, pretty sure the rest of their season is pretty tough. Let's see. All things considered. Yeah, so loss against the Magic. We expect them to lose against the Magic. Pistons should be a tough one for them. Pistons' record isn't great, but they are like 6th in the East. Heat, they should lose that one. Hopefully they lose that one. Thunder, Memphis, Bucks. They got the Pacers. What's their record? 31-23. So, yeah, they got to deal with the Pacers twice. Sixers? Where are the Sixers right now? I haven't kept up with them. They're 11. So, they're on pace with the same, even competition with the 76ers. Hornets, Hawks should beat the Hornets. Clippers, going to be tough. Nets, still on pace with them. So every single matchup they have are either games that are the same talent level as the Hawks, or they're just a better team, a superior team to the Hawks. So they have a pretty tough rest of their season. Jazz is one that should be not that difficult. But other than that, these are some battle it out games, right? So they're going to lose quite a bit. The first half of the season, I don't think was as difficult as what they're about to get now. Let's see. Yeah, they had some pretty tough ones in there. But, yeah, for the most part, let's see. Yeah, one of these weeks looked like they had the Wizards 3 times in a couple weeks. They had the Hornets, Lakers, Nuggets would have been tough, and they lost to that one. But yeah, anyways, rest of their season is going to be pretty tough, so I'm not really worried. Hawks about to get steamrolled. That's what I think. All right, let's take a look at what our boy had to say. Let's see. All right, Chris Paul, break it down.
First and foremost, I think everybody understands that, You know, basketball is what we do, not who we are. You know, so life and everything is so much more important. But for us, we know losing a big part of our team like that is by committee. You know, and trust me, you can't replace Vic. You know, I can't stand on a guy's shoulders and block every shot that comes to the rim. You know, and aside from his basketball ability, his charisma and what he brings into the locker room, I think is what we'll miss the most.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna miss Wemby. Obviously, you can't replicate what he brings on the court. But like I said, I still think the Spurs win more than we expect. Playoffs, that's a wash, right? My overall thoughts about us getting to 44 wins, kind of a wash at this point. I don't think that we make it there. Still think we could possibly make it to 40, though. Still think that that's possible. Gonna miss Alien Riz. We are gonna miss Alien Riz for sure. Chris let out his anger on Durant today. Yeah. But yeah, really good message. Just basically saying, hey, you know, basketball isn't who you are. You know, it's just what you do. And everything, you know, they're going to have to adjust, which we end up seeing after this. They adjusted pretty well. Honestly, you know what, for funsies? We'll end it on this. I want to see what Brian Wright had to say. Did he talk after this game? I want to see a post game of Brian Wright. All right, we'll listen to some of this.
Overall, how did you think your team responded to what was otherwise, a tough beginning to the day, at least with the news they got?
Yeah, I thought they responded how we expected them to. Thought we had a lot of professional guys that were up to the challenge. And very, very pleased with the effort and competitiveness.
Y'all heard the "Let's Go Phoenix" chants? I was not paying attention to the crowd this game.
And the togetherness.
You guys were, I think, focused on defense coming out of the break. Did you see some of that come to fruition tonight?
We did. I thought our physicality and resistance was at an appropriate level. Thought our communication was better. Had a few mishaps, had a couple stretches where it could have been, but again, that is a powerful offensive team. So there's it's going to be a lot to ask to shut them off for 48 minutes. Thought we did a really good job, especially when it mattered the most, and just a team effort all around.
Something Chris spoke about earlier was that when the team is on the court, it kind of helps them take their mind off of everything. Did you see those spurts tonight? You know, them just
I'm a little bored by this. Let's skip around a little bit. See what another question is.
Just the job that the guys did, particularly Jeremy on KD. What did you think of the way he kind of hung in there?
There we go. How did Jeremy Sohan do on KD? You know, if you're a casual, you think that he has bad games all the time. That's not true. Good defender.
I thought he was tremendous. I thought he was maniacally competitive and fighting him
maniacally competitive.
every inch while also being disciplined, which is extremely hard when you're playing somebody of that caliber, one of the best offensive players the game's ever seen.
There was kind of some testing that some Jeremy didn't seem to be involved. That seems to be a different game.
Yeah, I think it was just for play. I don't think anybody was too serious. But yeah, it's funny when he's out there and he's the calm, cool head. But we'll take it.
Did Diabo earn a little more time
Is that a Carolina? She's trying to get a question in.
here?
He was a complete professional. He was an adult. He set a tone to start the game, and he was excellent.
It seemed like in the first few minutes he set like a million screens. As a coach, watching a guy do the little things like that, does that kind of get you jacked up? Like, what did you take from this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been something that we have been looking for throughout the season of screening, pressure on the rim with rolling, and rebounding. And he did those things in spades.
Bismack got to get a contract now. There's no choice. Yeah, for sure.
And he's been doing those things for many years. And so even when you get a guy, off the couch technically like that, when he has his business card and he's been doing it for a long time, you aren't too surprised, even though he's been out.
On board.
Yeah, the bench was great. Julian.
Momentum swing plays, it felt like. What did you
That's about the bench. I don't
mention that.
Game in a while.
Yeah, I thought he was great. Again, those guys have it's tough sometimes when you're used to playing minutes, then you play less minutes. And all those guys that we're talking about right now has had that happen to them recently.
Oh, you got Aura.
And number 2 in steals of all time. He's mentioned a couple of years back that he's always trying to chase the next big goal or the next big moment. But if you could slow time down right now for this moment and what it should mean to him, what would you say to him for that accomplishment?
You know, Chris has had so many accomplishments and milestones, and we've been a part of a few this year.
It's tough listening to your coach. Yeah.
Lucky to, live those through with him, and he's just been a tremendous example for our young guys. He's been a tremendous player, and tonight he was,
just talking about Chris Paul. I guess there's really not much you can take from this, right?
The amazing amount of Suns fans we had in the audience tonight.
Yeah.
We love Austin. I mean, it's right down the road.
No one cares.
When you see a guy of that caliber taking over, do you just sort of let him cook? Does it,
Do you just let him cook?
What are you doing as a coach?
It's my Fox.
Yeah, I think he does such a good job. And when you see him and Chris and those guys also still put the spacing behind it, the nuance.
I'm bored. I could have answered all these questions. I'm back. Hey, Victor Wembanyama. Anyways, enough of that. Good stuff. We're going to be fine. That's what I want this takeaway to be. Everything's okay. Everything's good. As far as Victor not winning Defensive Player of the Year, it is what it is. It's okay. It's all right. It just is the rules. I would like for the rules to be different. Or rather, I guess this isn't a rule, but just have less games. I think they'll be better. Instead of trying to add in all these artificial things. Like, don't get me wrong, the in-season tournament is all right, but it's artificial, right? Like let's add that in to keep guys competitive. When in actuality, the best possible outcome for that will be consumer friendly, but not your pocket friendly, would be limit the games. I think that actually is consumer friendly. We would get more competitive games. Each game would mean more. Guys would have even longer off seasons, probably, maybe, or maybe not. Games would be a little bit more spread out, so it would be a little more special. It would just be better. It would just be better. But, we don't want to do that. We want to make our money. You say it all comes down to greed and money. Well, it's obviously greed and money after that All-Star weekend. My God, the amount of advertisements in that weekend was horrible. So it's all money and greed, and that's what they're trying to do. But, if it was actually consumer-friendly and player-friendly, you would limit the games, and they would be better. It would be better. Doctor says I'm all good. Thanks, Vic. Thank you, Victor Wembanyama. Players don't want to take a cut. Would they take a cut? I guess so. I guess they would. Cash rules everything around me. Yeah. You hear that, Clan? Vic's all good. Yeah, I heard it. I read it. Yeah, he's good. Thanks for joining the chat, Vic. You probably should be worried more about your recovery right now. I don't know why you're on here, but thank you for coming through. You gotta make Victor Wembanyama a mod. Check my comments up top. Check my comment up top. Vic, we miss you, bro. Lower ticket prices, merch, and League Pass. There you go. Make League Pass better. It just kind of sucks. It's too expensive. So yeah, lower ticket prices, merch, and League Pass. You get it's just so frustrating because the NBA is always complaining about stuff when it's like you're helping create the problem. Like you're creating the problem. You're like, oh, everything's down right now. Like our viewership is down right now because everyone's going to Stream East. They don't want to sit here and pay all this money for League Pass that doesn't even work half the time. And just saying like, well, players aren't competitive. It's like you always got to put it on the players, right? And then you do the All-Star weekend and the players are competing fairly well, and you're like, they don't compete hard enough. But then you invite Kevin Hart there to just do some weird commentary over the mic? How are any of the players going to take you serious when they have Kevin Hart cracking jokes at them every possession? What are you doing? It was so awkward, man. Just full of it. Just completely full of it. That event just seems so janky, you know? Ugh. Victor Wembanyama says Kevin Hart gave me blood clots. I believe it. Kevin Hart really milked that All-Star game. It was ridiculous. It was like way too much, bro. It was way too much. And I've seen Kevin Hart like on his game, but that's way too much Kevin Hart, and it just wasn't funny. It was just way too much. The commissioner is kind of ruining or running the league sideways the past couple of years. Yeah. It's just, man, the best solutions are ones that might hurt your pocket short term. But I think people will appreciate it. Your viewership will go up. You'll still make your money. You'll be fine. I promise you guys that the owners, the commissioner, the players, the coaches, they will be able to survive and have meals every day if you limit the games down to 65. I promise you. If you limit League Pass and how much it costs, they will still be able to provide for their families. I promise you. I promise you. Okay? Gosh, we pay for so many streaming platforms already. You know, they need to make that thing more convenient. These are billionaires. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to afford their 5-star steak every night. Still. In their private jets. I'm pretty sure they'll still be able to afford those things. They'll survive. They'll be totally fine. Clan, we should have designated days like NFL has Sunday, college football has Saturday, as NBA should do every Friday, and some other days if we shorten the schedule. Thoughts? No, that would be cool. Like NBA Fridays, like that's the big games. And then, yeah, like maybe like 2 or 3, maybe like 2 more throughout the week. I think that's fine. I think that works. Best basketball is playoff basketball. It really is. Shorter preseason, shorter season, and longer playoffs. That would be cool. Yeah. Anyways, Clan, you're one of the best Spurs YouTubers. Thank you. Thanks, man. Thanks, 01. All right, in a segment.